Hello everyone, thank you for watching. My name is Nefertiti and you can find my information in the description box below. Today is Webinar Wednesday and we are going to be talking about psychic attack. Now I've done a video on this and I'll link it at the end or up here, talking about psychic attack, what it is. This is just going to go into more detail based on the energies that we are experiencing currently with this pandemic, with this mass awakening, with all of this eclipse energy. We're definitely experiencing some negative energy swirling around in excess because people are releasing, they're purging. That's a part of the awakening process, especially in the beginning. And we have mass awakenings happening right now. So, psychic attack. How do you know when you are being energetically accosted? This is based on your core or dominant psychic ability, which we all have. There's one in particular that is strongest, and that's the one that you want to focus on in your spiritual work, because you're going to get the most accurate information, the most timely information. And this takes practice and development. Meditation is always helpful, right? But psychic attack is basically energetic interference from another person, an environment. It just has you feeling kind of out of sorts. It could be deliberate or unintentional. Negativity sent your way by someone, or again, you just absorbing it from your environment because you're not aware of how sensitive you are, or the energy could be very old, very powerful, because negative energy is powerful. Let's make no mistake about it. It's not as powerful as the light, but it is definitely powerful. So, physical discomfort of all kinds is one of the main indicators of psychic attack. Now, there's lots of reasons for pain and illness, but for this particular video, we're going to talk about the discomfort, the pain, the sensations that are related to psychic attack. So I mentioned this in my other video too, but as we move through our body, different energies will connect based on the vibrational frequency, based on the wounding. So the head represents us, our faces, our personality, our self-esteem. So if we get headaches a lot, or if we have any type of issues with mental clarity, that could indicate some upper chakra blocks, first of all. But psychic attack, meaning that you are being influenced mentally. And this is the most powerful way for psychic attack, is to influence your mind, to influence your thinking. Because remember, the negativity, the darkness, the devil, the opposition, whatever you want to call that force, its main objective is not to stop you, but to get you to stop you. So that's the whole purpose of psychic attack, is to prevent your evolution, your growth and development. Your shoulders represent burdens. Your back represents your capacity to feel supported and loved. Your middle back represents guilt. Your lower back represents money. Your hips represent emotions. Your legs represent childhood wounds and traumas. They also represent your ability or inability to move forward, just the same as your knees. Your knees are really about stubbornness, stubborn pride and ego. And your feet represent fear. So again, fear of moving forward, fear of taking those next steps, or fear of what's ahead of you. If you would like more information on how the emotions affect the body, I highly recommend Louise Hay's book, Heal Your Body. This book was written, I think, in like the 70s or 80s. So I'm sure there's a copy online somewhere, but if not, you might want to like check some online used bookstores, or even go to her website, hayhouse.com. I'm pretty sure they have it there. Nightmares are another form of psychic attack. We are most vulnerable at night to energetic interference because, number one, we're connected to the astral realm when we go to sleep. Especially when we're dreaming or doing astral projection or anything like that. But our conscious mind is offline. So a lot of what we do to protect ourselves energetically, we do consciously. So if that part of us is offline, it makes us vulnerable. And there's ways to remedy this: crystals, prayer, protection prayers before you go to bed, meditation, of course. But just know that this is a time when, of course, the veil between the two worlds is very thin, especially between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m., the Amrit Vela. So if you are having nightmares, this is a form of psychic attack. So protect yourself. Amethyst is great. Creating crystal grids in your room is also very helpful. And it may be that you need to really work at this for a while, like a few days or maybe even weeks, to really clear that energy out. Irrational thoughts that seem to come out of nowhere is another form of psychic attack. So I know for me, I would, especially when my son was younger, I would have all kinds of just bizarre thoughts, and like, why would I think that? Like, why would I think this would happen to him? Why would I, even allow this kind of energy to affect me emotionally? But I didn't realize at the time that it was psychic attack, because we just don't assume that people are that nefarious, that are supposed to care about us, that are close to us. But it's the people often that are closest to us that sometimes have the worst intentions. And I'm going to talk about that in another video. It doesn't mean that we need to be afraid of people, that we need to close off our energy, although that might be the case. We just need to be aware that there are people walking around with high levels of psychic power, psychic energy, and they're not managing it for a variety of reasons. Usually it's fear, because it's unknown, it's mysterious, and we know that psychic development often involves dark nights of the soul and isolating yourself and just leveling up spiritually, and it's not an easy thing to do. That scares some people, especially those that are very rooted in the physical domain. So this could be a very challenging experience for some people, but it's not impossible. Psychic development is very important, and I feel like it's going to be a huge theme going forward, because we have all of these energies available to us for ascension. And psychic abilities are normal, they're natural. We've been led to believe that they're weird, that they're strange, that they don't have a place in ordinary life, but that's a part of the control, because if we're not believing in ourselves, if we're not in tune with ourselves and trusting the messages that we get, then we can be easily controlled, right? Because let's face it, human beings want to be told what to do. That's just the truth. And we need to decide who we are allowing to give us direction. Here's the answer, Spirit. Sick plants and animals are another indication that there could be psychic attack going on. Remember that animals, plants, they are very pure souls. They can only be what they can be, right? Which is a cat, which is a flower, whatever they manifest as. But because their energy is so pure and they are so aligned with source, they're able to see a lot of darkness too. So one of the main reasons psychic attack happens is because people don't spiritually protect themselves. We have to remember that this is a spiritual warfare. So if you're not protecting yourself, especially as an empath, a way shower, or somebody that does energy healing work, you're definitely opening yourself up to being accosted by psychic forces. Working with higher levels of energy without proper protection is just not smart, right? There's things available to us to keep us safe, like Archangel Michael, calling on him for protection, or any other deity that you work with, Jesus, Buddha. You could also use crystals, white light protection, and these are very simple things to do. And I'll even assert that whether or not you believe in spiritual protection being important, it's not that big of a deal. Just do it. Carry the crystals. Say the prayer. It can't hurt, right? But people that are so arrogant, and I mean, I'm just seeing this a lot, like with certain spiritual teachers that I used to look up to and admire. It's just like spiritual protection is like Ascension 101. Like, you learn that in the very beginning. So why all of a sudden do you think you don't need it, especially as you're moving up in higher frequencies, right? New levels, new devils, okay? So working with higher energies definitely use spiritual protection, even if that includes closing off your energy, right? Entity attachments. This is a subject in and of itself, but that is how you are consistently siphoned in your energy, is an entity being attached to you and feeding off of you. So what ends up happening is this entity that's attached to you is influencing your mind, influencing your thinking, thus influencing your choices. The choices that you're making are benefiting that entity. So it's going to be something that's probably going to be triggering so that you can have an emotional response, so that entity can be fed. So entity attachment is very personal for everybody as far as the removal of them. There's people that specialize in this field. I firmly believe that you can do it yourself. It does take a lot of work. You definitely need to educate yourself so that you know exactly what you're dealing with. And you also need to realize when you do need help, right? You can do it yourself, but then it could be that the entity that you're dealing with is ancestral or very powerful and strong, not more powerful than you, but maybe you're perceiving that on some level, and that's preventing you from healing it, removing it. So I encourage you just to tap in, tune in, and you can kind of feel for this energy. Like for me, I know I had a huge entity attachment in my crown chakra and in my throat on the left side due to my upbringing. And it took a long time for me, especially with the crown chakra block entity, that took years to remove. I mean, it was solidified and I knew I had to do it, but I didn't realize how long it would take because it's karmic too, right? You go through cycles of learning in order to bring this energy up into your conscious awareness so that you can deal with it. So be patient with yourself and get the help if you need it. Another way that people get psychically attacked is getting too many energy readings, watching too many tarot readers online, just letting too many people into your energetic space. Because again, not everybody has good intentions. Not everybody is as aligned as you think they are. And when we get in situations where we have a lot of questions, where we're in what I call that quiet desperation with spirit, when they kind of, you're never cut off from spirit, but there are times when spirit is silent because maybe you're integrating information, or maybe you need to practice patience. That's your current lesson. So we'll start to seek out information from all these different sources, getting frazzled. Our energy gets misaligned, so our intentions are not focused anymore because you're taking in all of this energy, all of these ideas, and this is a form of psychic attack that you're allowing. So be mindful of that. Trust the information that you get, take what resonates and leave the rest. I personally do watch a lot of energy readings, but I do it from the perspective of entertainment, of learning. But unless it really, really resonates with me, then I don't internalize it as a truth. So when does psychic attack happen? Sleeping, like I mentioned earlier. A lot of psychic attack, entity attachments happen while you are asleep. In crowds, especially where there's hard drugs or alcohol being consumed, there's a lot of negative entities floating around just waiting to attach to poor souls, finding that empath, right? They love to, especially empaths, because we're not only dealing with our emotions, we're absorbing emotions from other people and environments. So it's like a buffet for the entity, right? You can also experience psychic attack when ascension symptoms are heightened, because that can create some anxiety and that lowers your vibration. And anxiety itself can create entity attachments. Anxiety is an entity attachment. It's a huge entity attachment, right? And we can see how in the collective we've been feeding this anxiety monster. Abusing your body is another way that opens you up to psychic attack. And This might be triggering for some people because surgeries are sometimes necessary. I've had surgery. I had to have a C-section, but that's considered an abuse of your body. It's invasive, and that opens you up to psychic attack, to entity attachment. Leaving your television or other electronics on at night. Energy frequencies move through electric currents. So if your television is on and you're asleep, you are just wide ass open, right? Especially if you don't know what's playing on the television. It's just whatever's being said, whatever's being displayed is going right into your subconscious mind. And all of those entities are like, woo, yay, they're just, having a party, right? So turn the TV off. I know a lot of people like to sleep with the TV on, the radio on. You really shouldn't have any electronics in your room at all, period. Maybe except for your phone if you use it for an alarm, and then keep it far away from you. You definitely should not have anything plugged up by your head, okay? Because there's a lot of entities that travel through electrical cords and the outlets. So keep them covered or keep them away from your head when you're sleeping. Consenting to things when you're not aware. This has a lot to do with sovereignty, right? Awareness. And as you move up in levels, you become more aware of the illusions of this world, the fuckery, the things that have gone on underneath the surface, the underworld, and what you have unconsciously consented to, right? I'll talk about television again. Think about what the word television means. You're watching somebody else's vision, which means that you're consenting to whatever is being displayed. If you're not aware, because you can certainly, as an aware individual, as an awakened sovereign human being, watch something for the purpose of getting information, for the purpose of knowledge, but make the conscious decision to not attach to it emotionally. And even still, that's playing with fire, okay? So just work on your awareness, work on your sovereignty, allow yourself to be open to everything, but attached to nothing. So I'm going to offer you some tips for psychic protection. As I mentioned, crystals. Amethyst to me is the premier stone for psychic protection. It's just an all-purpose healer. It's going to connect to that crown chakra, where a lot of entity attachments come in, trying to get into your mind. Turquoise is also great. Black tourmaline if you're dealing with entities in your environment or any type of physical ascension symptoms. Kyanite, green kyanite is good for this too. Jade, black obsidian, selenite is great for ascension symptoms as well. But I highly recommend crystal protection just because it's so easy. You can just put the crystal in your pocket after you set the intention for it. You can wear crystal jewelry. You can build crystal grids in your house. So really simple, right? Simple psychic protection method. Meditation, absolutely necessary for psychic and spiritual protection, because it's going to allow you to keep that connecting link to source energy clean and clear. And then you're more aware of what is you and what isn't you, right? So you have to take that time to connect. And you can meditate in a lot of different ways. Meditation walks, meditation baths. I have a client that does 1-minute meditation intervals throughout the day because she's not at the point yet where she can sit for even 5 minutes quietly. She's got that much anxiety, that much going on, but she's willing. And that's all you have to do with the universe, is just to be willing and let the universe show you how. And it's going to be very personal for you. But as we move through these ascension timelines, as we move through this eclipse season, through this upcoming Mercury retrograde, we are definitely going to need psychic protection, because a lot of the energy this summer is emotionally charged, emotionally focused. All right? So thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And if you'd like to donate to my channel, if you like my work, you can do so using the PayPal or Venmo links below. If you'd like to book a session, you can go to my website, onebodywellnesssp.com. Have a wonderful day. I'll speak to you again soon. Namaste.